another thing naturalism cannot account for. It cannot account for consciousness of the mind. Let me ask you this. What part of your body thinks?
Your mind.
Is that part of your body?
No.
Good, because you avoided the trick question. Usually when you ask someone what part of your body thinks, what do you think they'll say?
Brain.
Brain. Does your brain think?
Nope.
Okay, some of you heard me say no. So what thinks?
Mind.
Your mind. Does God have a brain?
No.
No, he thinks just fine, doesn't he? So your brain doesn't think. Now, why are we taught that our brain thinks?
Because it's logical.
Because people will say, well, that's what's happening, right? When you think, that your brain lights up. What worldview is that?
Naturalism.
Naturalism, reductionism, physicalism, right? All that. Naturalism, scientism. Now, what's wrong with saying that your brain thinks? Your brain is an electrolyzed piece of meat, plain and simple. However, if it is your brain that is doing the thinking, then again, you don't have a free will to think what you want, therefore everything is predetermined. I debated, and I have the DVD there, I debated an atheist philosophy professor from HCC, and we were talking about free will and stuff, and he said, I said, so do you believe in free will? And he gave me a long answer and basically said no. I said, so you don't believe in free will? He's like, basically no. I said, do you fully believe that? And he goes, well, no, I'm determined to believe that. I said, then how do you know it's true? Because even if it's not true, you would still have to believe it if you're determined to, based on the laws of chemistry and physics in your brain. How do you know it's true? I said, if you're a determinist, then why do you take intellectual credit for believing in physicalism or naturalism, and why do you hold me accountable for not believing in it if you're both determined to believe it? It's a self-refuting view. It can't be proven on its own. Now, here's where we're going to have a little fun. So what thinks? Now, clearly there's a correlation between your brain and your mind. Now, we are what you call dualists. We believe that we have a physical substance, but we also have an immaterial substance, namely your soul. Now, how do we prove that the mind and brain are different? Because when I have a thought, this happens in my brain. When I have a thought of this happens in my brain. When I have a feeling of love, this happens in my brain. So to an atheist, a naturalist, a physicalist, they would say, look, that is love right there. Well, what do we do with that? Oh, dopamine, that's just... Now, remember that atheist professor I told you, my second class of philosophy? I told you I took him because I heard how antagonistic he was towards Christianity. And I remember one of his classes, he said, this belief about the soul is ridiculous. He said, if your soul is immaterial, he said, then why is it that I can take a pill, an antidepressant pill, swallow it, and a physical pill can change my mood? Well, Christians believe that your mood comes from your soul, but if I take a pill to change my mood, then apparently I don't have a soul because something physical changed me, and it was a physical change, not a non-physical change. So how can something physical act on the non-physical? He goes, of course we don't have souls. Pills prove that. What do you do with that? And it's true, right? Antidepressant pills?
It's not really changing our soul, it's just changing the way our bodies react. I mean, our bodies to count as well. I mean, it's like, let's think, I'm thinking of it like a three separate thing: pill, body, soul.
Mm-hmm.
If you put the pill in the body feels something, but the soul's still there. But it's feeling, the body's feeling a way, and the chemicals in your body are causing reactions in your body,
right, so
which feels a way, but it doesn't change your soul.
Well, let's have fun here then. What fills, your soul or your body?
Body.
Does it?
Well, your body recepts the feelings.
And where do the feelings lie?
In your soul, I guess.
In your soul. So when you take a pill, what changes?
It's the reception. It's the reception of your body to the soul.
And what changes?
Ultimately, the soul.
The soul. Yeah, so it's true. A pill can change the soul. Feelings.
How's it true?
Okay, you asked first. I'm sorry, then I come to you.
If the soul is made of the mind, will, and emotion,
Right.
how does a pill
affect
Changes
feelings.
their
Yeah,
emotions.
eventually affect the soul.
Good. Good, good. And here's where we want to get into. So first, okay, okay. All right, I'll take a few then. Go
Let's
ahead.
see next.
Well, I was just curious if you said a Phil, whatnot, what is fear of heights? What is it? Is it
Uh-huh.
effective thought process? Is it something going wrong here, or is it, what category would you put that? Dreams, fear of heights?
I would say, okay, let me touch on that real quick because, okay, and I'll get to this one too. Your soul, I believe your soul contains your emotions, it contains your spirit, it contains feelings. Now, a good book I'd recommend, J.P. Moreland, The Soul. Great book. Again, I love Moreland. Now, he is an expert on this. He is an expert on the soul. And we're going to go into a little bit more into it because this is one of my favorite topics. The topic I'm studying now, one of my favorite topics. I love the soul. Your soul has different capacities and faculties. Your soul has a faculty of beliefs. Well, your mind is in your soul. Think of it like a chest drawer. It has different compartments. Your soul has mind, has spirit. In mind, spirit has emotions, has belief. Within your mind, you have beliefs, and then you have thoughts. Now, these are two different things, because I can have beliefs I'm not thinking, and I can think thoughts I don't believe. So they're two different things. Okay? So you have thoughts, you have beliefs. Then you have sensations. I have a feeling of pain, a feeling of joy. These are in my soul. But these are different from, say, seeing the color, a sensation of seeing the color red. The sensation of seeing red is different from the sensation of feeling pain. So you have sensations, you have thoughts, you have beliefs, you have emotions. These are different facts. Now, the soul is an intricate thing in itself. It is literally, it's quite amazing. But this resides in you, not your body. I guess for an entire conference itself on the soul. Probably not right now because I want to study it more. But I mean, there's so much material on it. So, what you ask, where does that rely? All of it's in the soul. Feelings, fear, in the soul. Beliefs in the soul. Thoughts, being scared, being happy, in the soul. Go ahead.
Well, when we're commanded fear not,
Right.
is that imparted to us?
Well, some fear is healthy, and it's talking about fear not. It's usually in the context of something, like don't fear this battle or don't fear about this situation. It's usually in context. Okay, you had a question?
Well, actually, not a question, but maybe a little bit more like you were talking about the pill, changing the soul or the physical. Medically, a pill, what it does is it masks the feeling. It like Tylenol or what have you, or even an antidepressant. What it does is it goes and it acts upon the physical, and that too I think is very deep because words can even do that. The Bible says there's power in your words. You know, somebody can be feeling down, feeling suicidal, whatever. You may speak to them, talk them out of a certain situation. You know, make them start thinking. They'll change their way of thinking, their mindset, or what have you. You know, they're no longer going to be suicidal. But pills usually just cover a symptom. There's always something much deeper. With the brain, the Bible tells us, you know, why do you put on the helmet of salvation? That's where the enemy attacks. The enemy attacks your brain, your mind, your thoughts. In that, I believe that it's physical, but it can also be spiritual. And in a sense, they, I guess, intertwine or can communicate with each other to where the pill will mask the pain or the depression, suicidal feeling, whatever, and sometimes even cause it, because you hear it on TV all the time, you know, may cause suicidal thoughts or whatever. But anyway, that's the pill. That's a physical acting upon the physical, the electrons that it's shooting off in your brain, the physical, but it's speaking or it's influencing the spiritual. It's influencing the
Right.
soul.
And we're basically saying this. So we want to say it, and I think that's what you're getting at too. Is so yes, a pill can change your soul. How or why? I think the better question would be. There's a strong correlation between your soul and your body. Because let's not use a pill example. Buy your wife, your girlfriend, your mother a fancy new watch. She likes bling, a new ring, a new outfit. Give her a gift card to go shopping. What happens to her soul? It's happy. Happy. Now notice, you just did something physical, and it changed the spiritual, the immaterial. Now, let's try the other, reverse. Let's say you hear bad news, or you see a movie, or something sad happens, and you're seeing it. Let's say you see the Titanic or something, and you start to cry. What happened? Your thoughts, or let's say you start thinking about something sad, you think about someone who passed away, your thoughts begin to make a feeling of sadness, and you begin to cry. Let's say you become worried about something, and you get anxiety, and you begin to become sick. Point in case, your soul can affect your physical body, and something physical can affect your soul. How does this work? There's not really a step-by-step. There's an interaction.
And real quick, I think it's biblical. The Bible says that the eye is the light of the soul. So what you let in affects the soul.
And I don't even go as far as to say your eyes don't see, your soul sees. It's your soul that has these faculties. Now here's I think the question. Well, let's first, because we jumped ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let's rewind, and let's say we're again talking to an atheist, a naturalist, a reductionist, physicalist. First, we have to prove that the brain is not like the mind. I use this argument in the debate, is God necessary? Now, first, let's talk about this. How do we know the brain and mind are different? Now, take off the Christian hat for a second, and let's look at it just philosophically. Well, Leibniz, and it should be here in your notes, Leibniz has a law, what he calls Leibniz law of identity. And what this basically is I'll make sure I'm on the right page here. Okay, and I lost a page on my notes, I think, but that's fine. Leibniz law of identity is basically, he's a philosopher who came up with a view called the indiscernibility of identicals. And what that, for short, we'll call it Leibniz law of identity. And he basically says if two things are identical, then whatever is true of one should be true of the other. So, if two things are identical, that's the blank, that is the same thing. Whatever is true of one must be true of the other. So, if the, what example could I use here? If the speaker of this apologetics conference in class is the equivalent to Eric Hernandez, and whatever is true of Eric Hernandez must be true of the speaker of today's class. So, if the speaker is 5'6", Eric Hernandez must be 5'6". If the speaker is Hispanic, the Eric Hernandez must be Hispanic. So whatever is true of one must, and they are not the same thing. Are you with me so far? So, let's look at the brain and the mind. You have this here in your notes. Everything about your brain can be physically measured and is spatially extended. My brain has a size to it, right? My brain has a shape to it. My left side of my brain is this long, my right side is this long. I can measure that. Everything about my brain has a spatial extension. Now that's a brain state. Let's look at a mental state. Is my thought that today is Saturday longer than my thought that tomorrow will be Sunday?
Who knows?
No.
There's no way to measure.
I would say, yeah, you can't measure it. It's a category fallacy. Is my thought that my mother's cooking is delicious? Does that weigh, how many pounds does that weigh? Can't measure it. So we found something true of the brain state that is not true of a mental state, therefore they are not identical. That alone would prove that they're not the same thing. Let me give an example with numbers. Let's take the number 3 and the number 6. Now, the number 3 and the number 6, are they identical? Let's pretend we didn't know what they were. Well, no, let's say number 2 and number 6, sorry. Let's say number 2 and number 6, are they identical? Okay, let's look at something first. Are they both even?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so far they're identical. Can they both be divided by 3?
No.
No, oh, guess they're not identical. You see how that works? So if one thing's true of one and not the other, they're not identical. Let's go back to the brain and mind. A brain state. I could have the thought, today is Saturday, and there will be a firing in my brain happening that is correlated with that thought. Today's Saturday. There's a brain firing happening, right? There's something physical happening. Now, if I were a neuroscientist and I was just looking at the brain and I see a firing happen, okay, I measure whatever's going on. If the thought, today is Saturday, is that true or false? It's true. Now, if a scientist were just looking at my brain and sees the brain firing fire, is that brain firing true or false?
No. Just fire.
Category fallacy, right? Because a brain firing isn't true or false. It's just a physical. For example, if I get a Coke bottle and I shake it and I open it, it fizzes. Is that fizz true or false? No, the fizz itself. Is the fizz true or false? It's just fizz. It can't have the property of true or false. Can a thought be true or false?
Yes.
Yes. Can a brain firing be true or false?
No.
No. Therefore, they're not the same. So the brain and mind are two completely different things. So the next question is, what are they? That's the study of dualism, which is, again, we are made of a soul and a body. Now, a lot of other things, I think that'd be enough to just kind of, for naturalism, a few other things, morality. If naturalism is true, then there's no such thing as morality. We'll probably go over that later. There's we also talked about, the water bottle and the poison. If naturalism is true, then we can't say if something's right or wrong. I pick up the water bottle, there's poison, it killed the person. Is that right or wrong? Well, I don't know, because I can't see that through science, naturally. There's no room for morality in there. So if naturalism's true, there's no mind, there's no free will, you can't think for yourself, you can't do anything for yourself, and your mind is simply your brain. But we just showed that your mind's not your brain, therefore naturalism is false. Questions or comments?